What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is episode 12 of our special, awesome, amazing, super in-depth series, What is the Bible? My name's Sarah Kate. Thank you for joining me today. We're about to talk about numbers. Let's dig in. In our What is the Bible series, we have talked about the background, we've talked about the writing of the Bible, we've talked about Genesis, Exodus, and we spent 2 episodes talking about Leviticus, and here we are. This is the 4th book of the Bible, Numbers. So, first of all, let's talk about why is this book called Numbers. Genesis, clearly called Genesis because it is the beginning of everything in more ways than one. It's the beginning of the story of the Bible. Exodus, called Exodus because it is all about the exodus of the Israelites, and Exodus is the mass migration of people leaving. And Leviticus, as we talked about in the last 2 episodes, is named from the tribe of Levi, Leviticus. Levi being one of the 12 sons of Jacob, the Levitical priest, and the Levitical law being the center point in the book of Leviticus. So here we are at Numbers. The book title Numbers comes from the Septuagint title. Reminder, the Septuagint is actually the Greek translation, the first Greek translation of the Bible. The Septuagint title is Arithmoi, 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 meaning number. So we have our title Numbers from the Septuagint title, and this is based on the not 1 but 2 military censuses that are taken in this book. Those happen in chapter 1 and in chapter 26. If you want to check out those military census chapters. The Hebrew title for this book is actually Bemidbar, which means in the wilderness. And of course, Numbers is the story of the Israelite people who just left Egypt, and this is their journey through the wilderness, which happens over the course of about 40 years. Just before Numbers, as a recap, the Israelite people have escaped slavery in Egypt. They have fled away from the Egyptians, and they are on their way to the land that God has promised them, the land that God will eventually show them. But this journey in the wilderness shows us, and this book of Numbers shows us 3 things-ish. First, it shows us the leadership skills of Moses and his sometimes failure and his sometimes success, and how he how God works through him as a leader of these people. It also shows us the humanity of these people and really great examples of lack of faith, their lack of faith as a community. And 3, it shows us God's justice. It shows us examples of God's love, and it shows us God's faithfulness to his people, even when they don't do what he wants them to do. So as I was skimming through Numbers and reading parts of Numbers over again for this study, I just feel like we can really do a good deep dive in Numbers to talk about what Numbers shows us about what's going on in this book, but also about the story of the Bible as a whole. And there are several different things I'm going to separate Numbers into, several different discussions we're going to separate Numbers into. The first is I want to talk about the organization of the camps here in Numbers and the job duties assigned to these people. Then I want to talk about the location. Where are they? When they give all these place names in Numbers, where is that now today? Thirdly, I really want to touch on the sin and the complaint department that happens here in Numbers and the problems that the Israelites have with sin and the way God provides. So God's provision through the complaint department. And lastly, I want to talk about the Promised Land. Who gets to go there? Who gets to see it? Who gets to live there? And where exactly is the Promised Land? And as we talk about the Promised Land, we will be going into the book of Joshua, which is the next book in the Bible, because the story continues in that book. So we're going to try and cover all of these things probably within 2 episodes on Numbers. And I may add or take away from that list. And the point of this series is to take a very in-depth look at what the Bible is actually about. And the last 2 books have been all about God's chosen people and how they escaped slavery and why they're chosen by God. These Hebrew people, and this book is no different than that. It is following a very specific group of people on a journey because they are God's chosen people. The beginning of this book gives us an in-depth look at the Israelite tribes. So we're going to dig into an organization of the camps of Israelites. I find this fascinating. The entire 2nd chapter of the book of Numbers is about the organization of the camps of Israelites. And it gives them very detailed instructions on how they should camp and how they should travel. I am going to draw a graph for us, okay? This is fun for me, okay? This is going to be amazing. You're gonna love it, I promise. Okay, follow me over here to my chalkboard. Okay, first, the organization of how the Israelites were supposed to camp, okay? Camp. Cool, right? First things first, the instructions were to always have the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant in the middle of the camp. So the tabernacle is here in the middle. North, south, east. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to need this. East, west. Is this the east? Is this direction the east? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to look up a compass. Tell me. Tell me I don't have to look up a compass. North, south, east, west. Yeah. Okay, thank God. Grab your Bibles and follow along. We're in chapter 2. It says, Reuben's military divisions will camp in the south side under their banner. Reuben's military divisions, the tribe of Reuben, that means that Reuben is in charge of these 3 tribes. Reuben is in charge of Reuben, and he's going to camp in the south. Reuben is the south side leader. The tribe of Reuben is also in charge of tribe of Simeon, they camp on the south side, and the tribe of Gad. They camp on the south side. This is chapter 2 of Numbers, verse 2. Judah's military divisions will camp on the east side. East side. East side leader. The tribe of Judah is also in charge of Issachar. The tribe of Judah is also in charge of the tribe of Zebulun. East side camp. Ephraim's military divisions will camp on the west side. This is verse 18. Ephraim's military divisions will camp on the west side under their banner. Ephraim is the west side leader. The tribe of Ephraim is in charge of the tribe of Manasseh. That's verse 20. And the tribe of Ephraim is also in charge of the tribe of Benjamin. West side leaders, west side. Then there's the north side. Dan's military divisions. Space. Dan is the north side leader. Dan is in charge of the tribe of Asher. And that's in verse 27. He's also in charge of the tribe of Naphtali. North side leadership. This is the layout that the Israelites are supposed to camp in no matter what. And this is the layout that the Israelites camp in for almost 40 years of their journey. Then we get a description of how the Israelites are supposed to travel in their camp. So let me show you this. Okay. Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, these three tribes, travel first. We're traveling this direction. Then, as they travel, the east side is in the front. Then the south side goes second. Then, as they're traveling, the west side group goes third. And the last group, bringing up the rear, is the north side group. With Dan, I know I ran out of room. Okay, I ran out of room. This is the north side group. When they pick up, when they move their camp to a different location, this is the order they walk in. I'm going to stay over here for a second because I want to show you something else. So if you notice, tribe of Levi is not in here. Maybe you noticed that, maybe you didn't. The tribe of Levi, that's the entire last book of the Bible was about, not on here. They are not a group selected. Why is that? Because they, like we said, they have been set apart by God as a tribe. They're not included in this. They are the priests, and they are in charge of the tabernacle in the middle. Then we get into something really cool about how they walk and what their duties are for the tabernacle. Okay, so as they move, as they pick up camp and they move across the desert, the Levites at the very beginning carry the Ark of the Covenant of God. This is chapter 4, starting at verse 4 of Numbers. The service of the Kohathites at the tent of meeting concerns the most holy object. Whenever the camp is about to move on, Aaron and his sons are to go in, take down the screening curtain, cover the Ark of the Testimony with it. They are to place over this covering made of fine leather, spread solid blue cloth on top. Continues on, very specific instructions. The Kohathites here are carrying the tabernacle furnishings, and they do that somewhere in this third rank of people. Okay, somewhere in here, they're carrying those furnishings. Then we hear about the duties of the Gershonites. So in this section, the Gershonites, this section here at the end of chapter 4, the Gershonites and the Merarites are in charge of carrying the tabernacle and the things included with the tabernacle. And that happens, they carry it in the same order right here in this section. So the Gershonites people and the Merarite people are carrying the tabernacle stuff right here. Got it? Let's go back over here. Now that we got that figured out, this very specific orderly instructions for the transition of in the camps of the Israelites, it did two things for the Israelite people. Number one, it allowed for an orderly transition from camping to traveling for what was millions of people. And the second thing it did was it put each tribe in a position to support the entire group by using each tribe's strengths. So it puts military divisions at the front. It provides leadership for groups of 3 tribes, and then puts the ark and the tabernacle in the middle of the camp to protect it. A few thoughts about the detail and organization here. that we find about the camps and the tribes of Israel. Clearly, the need here to stay organized stems from the massive amount of people moving through the land together. So here's a picture of 1 million people. This is a picture I found on Google of an example of what 1 million people looks like. This is 1 million people that turned out to celebrate the marriage of Kate Middleton and Prince William, okay? So this is 1 million people. This is what 1 million people looks like. Well, we know, based on our numbers here in the Bible, that there are closer to 2 million people walking through the wilderness. So here is a doubled picture. I just took the same picture for you to get in your mind what 2 million people looks like walking through the wilderness. This is the number we are talking about. Traveling through the wilderness, traveling and camping and traveling and camping in and around Syria and Israel. So you can clearly see how organization is necessary for many reasons. Now, with the organization of the camps, you're separated by tribe. More than likely, even within your tribe, you're separated out by family, and there's probably a very exact system within the tribes. So if you need to find Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you know what direction to go look for them, you know what tribe and where they should be placed. A few more details or thoughts about this organization of tribes as we wrap up episode 12 here is that the Septuagint uses the word parambello when it is talking about setting up camp for these tribes. When it says set up camp or move camp, it uses the word parambello. Parambello literally means to throw up, to enclose an object or area on all sides, meaning that the tribes are pitching their tents in order to enclose the tabernacle at the center. And in this way, they are putting God at the center of their daily lives, literally, with this configuration of the camps. Normally, in a war or military type setting, and we know this is certainly the case for the Egyptians, in the middle of any military encampment would be the king and his generals and any other leaders in the middle of the encampment. And so too, here the Israelites have put God in the middle of their encampment as their leader. So this creates not only a spiritual connection, God is at our center, He is our king, He is our leader, but also the protection of what is most valuable to them, the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant and their relationship to God here. Next week, we are going to talk about location. Where in the world are we? Okay? We're going to talk about location, and I'm also going to try and dig in a little bit into the sins and the story of complaining from the Israelites. Thank you for joining me in this episode. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you can share it with your friends, your family. Give me a thumbs up button there at the bottom of the screen. And I will see you in the next episode. Have a great week, everybody.